Have you ever looked at a company's stock price and thought, um, what is this business really worth?
Right, not just the day-to-day fluctuations, but the actual, fundamental value.
Exactly. Or maybe how can two smart experts look at the same company and, well, come up with pretty different valuations?
That's a great question.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into the Valuation Book by Mark Alexanian, Kenneth Lee, Matthias Meitner, and Neil Pende.
And it's really not your typical heavy finance textbook.
No, definitely not. It's pitched as a practical, sort of jargon-light guide, good for early career investors, managers, or really anyone who's just curious about how valuation actually works.
Yeah, understanding what's under the hood.
So our mission today, let's pull out three big ideas from this book that might fundamentally shift how you think about assessing what a business is, genuinely worth.
Sounds good. And what's really interesting is how they start by tackling a huge misconception right off the bat,
Oh, which one?
that valuation is about finding the single correct number. They really emphasize it's just not like that.
Ah, okay, that leads perfectly into our first big idea then. Valuation is an art, not a precise science.
Exactly. The book makes it really clear valuation hinges on future forecasts.
And forecasting the future is, well, inherently uncertain, right? It's not like 2 plus 2, 4.
Precisely. There's no single right answer waiting to be found. It involves what they call myriad assumptions.
Meaning like educated guesses about growth, costs, the economy.
All of that. Informed judgments, sure, but still judgments. And because of that uncertainty, professionals don't just land on one figure.
They use scenario analysis.
Right. Scenario analysis. They explore different assumptions, different potential outcomes to get a range of values.
So it becomes more of a basis for discussion. Like, okay, if this happens, it might be worth X, but if that happens.
Exactly. It's a tool for debate and understanding the possibilities, not finding one magic number.
Okay, so if it's an art based on forecasts, how do you ground it? Many people say, cash is king, just follow the cash.
Ah, yes, the only cash flow matters idea. The book pushes back on that quite a bit. Which brings us to the second key insight, the indispensable role of accounting. Why both earnings and cash flow matter.
So cash isn't the only thing.
Well, it's crucial, obviously, but focusing only on it can be misleading for valuation. There's a great quote they use from Stephen Penman, a well-known accounting professor.
What's that?
He says, essentially, valuation is methods for determining the price. Accounting is methods for producing the information for that determination.
Okay, so accounting provides the raw data, the detailed picture.
Exactly. Financial statements give you, hugely detailed information, far more than just a cash flow statement alone. The book argues pretty strongly that forecasting earnings first and then converting those into free cash flow is actually a more effective and reliable way to value a company in practice.
Why earnings first, though?
Because earnings capture the underlying profitability, the economic reality of the business operations. That's often a better foundation for long-term forecasting than just, the timing of cash coming in and out,
Yeah.
which can be lumpy.
Right. Earnings give you the sort of core health picture, not just the pulse. Okay, that makes sense. So moving to the third idea, this one seems really practical for comparing companies. Understanding enterprise value, EV, versus equity value.
Yeah, this is fundamental. When you value a company, you have a choice.
Yeah.
Are you valuing the whole operation, the entire enterprise, or just the slice that belongs to the shareholders, the equity?
The book uses an analogy, right? Something about property.
Yes, the rental property analogy. Think about a rental property's total market value. That value is what it is, kind of like the enterprise value, or EV.
Okay.
Now, whether the owner has a massive mortgage on it or owns it free and clear, that affects their personal stake, their equity in the property. But it doesn't change the property's total value.
Ah, I get it. The mortgage is like the company's debt. It changes the owner's piece, equity value, but not the property's total worth, enterprise value.
Exactly. And the big advantage of using enterprise value when you're analyzing companies is that it ignores capital structure differences, as the book says.
Meaning you can compare two businesses more fairly, even if one uses a ton of debt and the other doesn't. You're looking at the underlying operational value.
Precisely. It allows for a much better apples-to-apples comparison of operating performance. It's very widely used for that reason.
But not for all companies. I think they mentioned banks.
Right, good point. It's generally not suitable for financial institutions like banks or insurance companies because their whole business model, their operations, are deeply intertwined with their financing structure. You can't really separate them easily.
Okay. And they mentioned something called the EV bridge.
Yeah, it's basically a practical tool, like a little roadmap
Yeah.
to move between enterprise value and equity value. You start with EV, then you adjust for things like debt, cash, and other claims to get back to the value that belongs just to the shareholders.
Makes sense. So we've really just scratched the surface here, but these three ideas from the valuation book, valuation as art, the role of accounting beyond just cash, and understanding EV versus equity, they offer some really solid principles.
Absolutely. Foundational stuff.
It really brings to mind that Warren Buffett quote, "Price is what you pay, value is what you get." And this deep dive has highlighted just how different those two things can be.
A crucial distinction.
So the question for you listening is, how might you use these insights? How can you look past the daily market noise and start thinking about, the real underlying value when you look at a business or make financial decisions?
Yeah, what really stood out to you from this? Was there anything surprising or particularly useful in thinking about how value is actually assessed, something
Yeah.
to mull over?